on his way to his constituency for the weekend. Mr. Kruger, we're a very rural county. Your constituency is very rural. Did you vote to reject this change, fully understanding what farmers are concerned about?
Absolutely, and I share the concerns, and I understand exactly where Minette Batters, the NFU president, who you just quoted, is coming from. We all want to preserve the high standards that British food reaches, and British farmers produce the best food in the world. But that amendment that we voted against was an amendment to stop all imports of food into the UK. Because we have the highest food production standards here, to say that everybody has to produce food in exactly the same way as we do is basically saying we're not going to import any food from abroad. And currently we import food from Europe, from Africa, from all over the world, which we are very happy to eat, and it's a very good thing that we're supporting agriculture in those countries. To say that we can only import food made in exactly the same way as British farmers do would be to end trade, and it would also end our exports. So what we need to do, and this is why I share Minette's concern and our concerns of our farmers in Wiltshire, is to make sure, firstly, that food safety is absolutely paramount and protected, and we're not going to allow any food into the UK that doesn't meet our food safety standards, but also ensure that we don't allow foreign producers to undercut our farmers by using techniques that drive down the cost of food, using techniques that we're not allowed to use here. So that's why I'm pushing the government to put tariffs on any imports made with techniques that we're not allowed to use in our farms.
And that is a strategy, but if food is coming in that's substandard, it's because it saves costs producing it. You add a tariff, it may still be a cheaper option for the consumer than we can produce in Wiltshire. How do farmers deal with that, Mr. Kruger?
Well, we've got to decide whether we're prepared to compete with the rest of the world at all. And there is an argument, and I think this is ultimately at the bottom of what the NFU is saying. We shouldn't really be trading. We should just be a self-sufficient island that only eats its own food. I understand that argument, but it does mean drawing up the drawbridge and not selling food abroad and not buying any food from abroad. So forget about all your food and flowers and everything that we import from abroad. If we are prepared to trade, then it's a complicated question, and that's why I think this is our challenge on our side, supporting the government. Every trade deal is going to be complicated. Every foodstuff and every import is going to have its own arrangements. We can't have a blanket policy like the one that was proposed by that amendment we rejected. We have to work in a considered way. And what I really emphasise is we are creating a commission that the NFU are part of, in fact, to ensure that all of these trade deals are properly scrutinised from a position of environmental standards, animal welfare, as well as food safety, and think about our domestic producers so that they're not undercut. We are absolutely committed. Can I just say, it would be absolutely mad for a Conservative government, which relies, as I do, on the votes of people living in the countryside, to screw over our farmers. We are just not going to do that, but we can't adopt that kind of blanket policy that is being proposed.
But there were farmers in Swindon and farmers in Marlborough who are saying that they don't believe in you. They certainly don't want a blanket trade block because, of course, so many of our farmers export as well as, us importing food.
Indeed.
And that leads on really to the question that would be looming so much bigger in our minds if it wasn't for the pandemic. We seem to be moving closer to a no deal, or do you know different?
No, with the EU, I don't think so. It looks quite positive, what the news from the last day or so. I mean, who knows? These deals are quite rightly done behind closed doors. They can't be negotiated in public. Both sides have been committed to a deal since the Brexit deal was done last year, committed to a free trade agreement. We've still got some time. Time is very tight, but that's the way these things are always done. I have confidence and faith both in our negotiators and in the EU's negotiators that they want to do a deal. It's in so much in everybody's interests. Looks like we're very close, remaining some difficulties around fish, which would be annoying if that was what scuppered it, because Wiltshire doesn't have a big fish industry. So I'm hopeful that we'll get there, but who knows? And if it doesn't happen, we can live with it. We will prosper, but obviously everybody really, really wants a deal.
I've got to ask you about school lunches, free school lunches, Mr. Kruger. Increasing numbers of Wiltshire and Swindon caterers coming forward saying they will help children who get free school meals eat next week. There is real anger and passion about this. You and all of your colleague MPs in Wiltshire and Swindon voted against the opportunity to extend free school meals for the school holidays. Are you sure that that's fair on families who are struggling so much?
Well, let me be clear that the vote that took place this week was Labour's motion. It didn't have any effect. Even it wouldn't have changed the law even if it had passed. Changed the rules even if it had passed. What they were proposing isn't free school meals. We're continuing those, of course. It's to give vouchers to people on benefits.
But children don't get
holidays.
free school meals in the school holidays, do they?
No, they don't, and they never have. And of course, Labour never introduced free school meals in the holidays or the weekends when they were in power, and we had entrenched child poverty
but
then.
They weren't facing COVID, Mr. Kruger. They didn't have constituents with that.
No, I'm sorry, but we'd have extreme child poverty in those years, and that was never used as the method for dealing with it. The method for dealing with child poverty and for family low incomes is the welfare system, and that is the technique we should be using. And we have put more money into the welfare system. People are getting £20 a week extra on universal credit. We've also, and this is crucial, and this is why I actually honour what's going on in Wiltshire at the moment, more money has been given to councils to use for targeted assistance for families in need. And the more local we can get with this approach, the better, because a blanket entitlement of all families on benefits to get supermarket vouchers is not, in my view, the best way to reach the families that need help the most. What we need, and what we've done, is to put money into councils, for £500,000 for Wiltshire, and crucially, and we're seeing it, and this is what I want to congratulate the caterers you just mentioned, charities, caterers stepping forward. As we've seen all through this pandemic, people helping their neighbours, that's the kind of society we are. I absolutely honour that.
These are businesses who are sacrificing their profit, which is difficult to come by at the moment, to help their friends and neighbours. Are you entirely comfortable with that?
I think I absolutely honour everybody who gives their time or their money to help their neighbours. That is the kind of society we are. Not all help has to go up through the government, through the taxman, and back down through from the state. The state is there as a partner of society. It can't replace it. And the government is putting a huge amount of money into the welfare system. It's put nearly £10 billion additional of your and my money, taxpayers' money, into the welfare system to support families at risk. But it can't do it all. And I'm really pleased to see what's going on and why councils and local charities are stepping up.
Thank you very much indeed. That's Danny Kruger, MP for Devizes. We talked about the farming demonstration, the farmers demonstrating in Marlborough this afternoon with their tractors against their fears that we will allow lower standard foods to be imported into the UK. We also talked about the fact that Wiltshire companies in Polshot, in Marlborough, in Swindon are coming forward to offer children alternatives to free school meals next term. I am sure that on Monday morning from 6 o'clock, James Thomas will be picking this up further on BBC Wiltshire's Breakfast Show.